Just as we have looked at streamlining the flow of production by tying different processes together, rather than focusing on individual efforts, a manufacturer's relationships with suppliers should be viewed with the total manufacturing system in mind, rather than by concentrating on individual companies' practice. This is especially true when we recognize that competition is not simply a matter of one company trying to dominate over the others in an industry. Rather, it is often a matter of one group of companies functioning as an integrated system, competing with another group of companies. To be competitive in today's fierce business environment, we need to develop more proactive relationships to complement the resources of manufacturers and suppliers. These then should impact all areas of quality, cost, and delivery. In the area of quality, the concept of quality at source must be practiced. In the area of cost, cross-visitation and joint study teams may be considered for sharing productivity improvement techniques. In the area of delivery, closer supplier location and mixed loading arrangements should be carefully examined.
About 3 years ago, we started a team of purchasing buyers, quality engineers, and metallurgical engineers. Developed a team to survey each vendor in statistical process control. We began with the training phase. A lot of our suppliers were new at it and did not have the proper training in SPC. So we offered through the management of this company to train our supplier people, and we've trained hundreds over the years in statistical process control. After this phase, we went into the survey phase of visiting our suppliers, going through their plants, checking the quality and all of their phases of SPC to discover where they were at that particular point. And as time went on and other visits were made, certification of certain vendors were made and a plaque was awarded. This has resulted in an average reduction on percent of shipments received to rejected being 6% about 3 years ago. Now the average is approximately 3.5%. And I'll give you an example of what one supplier told me. He said, at first, I was a little upset because everybody was telling me that quality was free, that it wasn't going to cost me any more money. And in fact, it was costing me more money. Then he said, I'm sure glad that you forced me into this because it's made me a better company. I've actually obtained more business, and today I am much less scrap and cost in my company, and I really believe that quality is free. It isn't at first. Eventually, it turns out to be much better. And he thanked me for forcing him into something he should have done in the first place.
This cooperation with suppliers should be carried out at the shop floor level, too.
What you see here are frames that are delivered to us from a vendor. It used to be we had about 5 different suppliers building parts for us. Now what we've done is reduced our supply base to just one supplier, and the supplier is local within a 15-minute drive from our location. This allows us to work very closely with that supplier, and what we've done is set up really a jet replenishment system for our factory. Every day at the end of the day we call and tell him how many frames we need for the next day, and that allows us to reduce our inventory that we're holding here. It also helps us with quality problems. We check on very small lots the quality of the supplier when it comes in. It also used to be that this area was about 5 times as big as it is today, and in fact we were forced to have a warehouse for our frames because they were so big we couldn't fit them on the production floor. But now what you see here is all that we have stored for our frames, and they're delivered on a daily basis. In addition, we're able to work with our vendors to really work on design problems so that we can improve our design and help it fit into their process better.
Thus, the traditional arm's-length relationship based primarily on price is changing. Manufacturers should view their suppliers as an extension of their own factory. Development of a fewer number yet more reliable supply base becomes a natural consequence of these efforts.
One of the things we've done is cut our supply base from about 1,200 down to 100 active suppliers. In addition to that, we've begun to get proactive with our suppliers in terms of quality and quality involvement on their shop floor. We created an organization called Vendor Quality Engineering, which actually worked with our suppliers on their shop floor in making sure that they employ the statistical process controls that we require for them to have in place before they send us product. We've done away with our own internal inspection departments. What we'll do right now is audit material on a periodic or spot basis. We do not have full-blown incoming material inspection departments to look for supplier quality mistakes. So basically what we've done in that area is pushed the onus of quality back to source or back to the original supplier. In Cork Island, for instance, we will not count corrugated boxes coming into the facility. The supplier will make deliveries 4 or 5 times a day, and that supplier will pay on the basis of how many units we pack out. There's no invoice involved, no receiving slips involved, just common sense type things.
At Toyota, we see an example of how both supplier and manufacturer can prosper from an extended factory relationship.
The net result of the improvements made in our building and the improvements that have also been passed on to us from our suppliers has allowed us to prevent any increases from being passed on to our ultimate consumer. We have been able to maintain the cost delivered price of our product for the last 5 years, even though material cost increases have occurred.
What I hear seems to make so much sense, but it sounds like a shakeout in the supplier communities for the manufacturer's survival. If a supplier does not cooperate with manufacturers, such a supplier seems to have a very slim chance for the future, doesn't it?
Perhaps if one group of companies is competing with another group of companies, and if one group cooperates better in the manufacturing, design, logistics, and so on, I think we can figure out which side will win rather easily.
Isn't this, though, a violation of antitrust laws?
I don't know the details of these laws, so I'm not in the position to comment on that. But if one makes economic sense out of cooperating and the other one doesn't, I tend to think we should do something about it.
Is it true that Japanese companies tend to cooperate more than American companies?
Yes, I think you could say that. In Japan, customers are typically viewed as king, and this idea applies to the supplier-manufacturer situation as well. That means suppliers tend to do their best to satisfy the customer or manufacturer in this case. Just like in a management-employee relationship, the manufacturer and supplier seek a longer-term relationship. So usually, they try to do the best for each other's mutual benefit, rather than focus on short-term benefits.
Because in the long run, both will benefit.
Right. A certain amount of trust means a lot, rather than the detailed language of a contract. In fact, many manufacturers in Japan have helped their suppliers learn techniques for improvement.
So you think the trend in the U.S. will be toward a closer relationship with suppliers than in the past?
Yes, actually that's what's happening. Whether we like it or not, more competition means we have to do things differently if it makes economic sense.
So we are forced to behave in certain ways.
Yes, but we can take this kind of situation positively. I personally tend to see this as providing opportunities for those who respond proactively to the change.
I see.
The implication of this to the American manufacturer in order to compete, say, with Far Eastern or Japanese manufacturer is they have to begin to do things differently than they've done in the past. Adversarial relationships between customers and suppliers will no longer get it. Not sharing information, not being open with the supplier will no longer be a benefit in the future. In other words, it won't afford you a competitive advantage to conduct business in that manner.